Alright, so today we are talking about Accused, directed by Anubhuti Kashyap and now streaming on Netflix. This one is a psychological thriller, or at least it tries to be. And honestly, for most of its runtime, it holds up reasonably well. But then the climax happens, and that's where everything falls apart. We'll get to that. Let me set it up for you first. The film is about a queer couple, Dr. Geetika Sen, played by Konkona Sensharma, and Dr. Meera, played by Pratibha Raanta. They've built what looks like a stable, comfortable life together in London, and then out of nowhere, their world starts unraveling when Geetika is hit with a sexual misconduct allegation. Now, one thing I want to point out, the fact that they're a queer couple is not the central conflict of the story. They're settling in London where same sex relationships are broadly accepted. So the film doesn't lean on that tension at all. And honestly, that's refreshing. Too many films make queerness the entire point, the struggle, the arc. Here is just who these people are. The real conflict is something else entirely. Dr. Gitika is not an easy person to like. She's a senior gynecologist, sharp, capable, and used to getting her way. She's had multiple relationships with women, both inside and outside the hospital, and a fair number of those women have been left bruised. Not physically, but emotionally. She's been reported to HR before, multiple times, but because she's good at her job, genuinely good, the hospital has always looked the other way. Until now. Because this new accusation of being a sexual predator is a different beast altogether. And that's what the film builds around. Who is targeting her? Who are the complainants? What really happened? And what do Gitika and Meera do to hold their lives together? Now, here's the thing. For most of its runtime, the film actually moves well. It doesn't drag. There's no unnecessary padding, no scenes stretched out of for the sake of it, no long-winded dialogues that go nowhere. The pacing is tight, and I'll be honest, I kept wondering why people were so harsh on this one. Because up until a point, it works. But then the climax arrives, and it just deflates. You know how they say a good ending can elevate an entire film? The opposite is equally true. A weak ending can undo everything that came before it. And that's exactly what happens here. The resolution is bland, it's generic, it lands with zero impact. It felt like the makers weren't sure of how to close this story, so they just stitched something together. The reveal doesn't hit. The tension that was carefully built over the preceding hours simply evaporates. And that, I think, is the core reason behind all the backlash this film has received. There are a couple of things that nagged at me. First, and this is a Dharma production, so it shouldn't surprise anyone. Every character looks immaculate throughout. Perfectly put together, beautifully dressed, not a hair out of place. And look, I get it, that's the house style. But when your characters are in the middle of a personal and professional crisis, when their lives are essentially crumbling, maybe dial it back a little. It takes you out of the moment completely. On the other hand, something I genuinely appreciated, there are no songs in this film. None. And that was absolutely the right call. This story didn't need songs, and the makers knew that. For a Dharma production, that actually a bold choice, but it pays off. Now let's come to the performances because this is where everything gets a little bit more complicated as well. Konkona Sensharma is one of the finest actors we have. I mean that. In average films, in bad films, she still finds a way to shine. So it's genuinely strange to say this, but she doesn't quite land here. Her character is deliberately unlikable, and Konkona clearly gives it everything she has. But something doesn't click. Partly, I think the issue is in the writing. The scenes she's been given don't give her enough to work with. She deserves material that matches her caliber, and this script doesn't fully deliver that. Here's hoping the next one does because she's too good to be held back by a weak script. Pratibha Ranta as Meera has a less demanding role by comparison, but she handles it with ease. She's solid, but again the material doesn't push her into anything extraordinary. Look, I was genuinely looking forward to this one. Anubhuti Kashyap made Dr. G, which was such a warm, well crafted film. I expected something equally sharp here. Instead, what we get is a film that almost gets there but stumbles right at the finish line. Is it the disaster people are making out to be? No, I don't think so. But is it a good film? Also, no. It's average, and in a thriller, average is almost worse than bad. because the genre demands that you stick the landing. This one doesn't. So if you have Netflix and you're genuinely curious, it's not unwatchable, but go in with managed expectations. Accused is streaming on Netflix right now. If you have already watched it, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Drop in the comment section below. And if you have found this review helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. It genuinely means a lot. See you in the next one.